absolutely.
Do you know Senator Quirke? John Quirke?
G'day. How are you? Nice to meet you. I do not believe there's a need for changing the gun laws as they stand now. Mm-hmm. When John Howard changed them in 1997, which was after Port Arthur, 3 years after my shooting, that was sensational. The only thing that needs to be changed is not the gun laws, but it's the way we assess people around the mental health, mental well-being.
This is an area that Honourable John knows all about because he helped frame the state legislation.
I did.
And
Shadow Minister
is a well-known gun collector as well. But and I know you were horrified to hear of the so-called changes that the federal parliament wanted to make.
Well, Albo wanted to blame everyone except mad Muslims. And, it was a strategy that he had. He thought this fellow had 6 guns and he couldn't understand why that would happen. And I think he thought he was going to initiate another round of that stuff. And he proposed a buyback, of course, which only 2 states picked up a little bit on, because he wanted the states to pay half of it. And most people could see right through it that the issue was Islamic fundamentalism. And you can do what you like with that gun laws, but if you have Islamic fundamentalists that believe Jews should be killed, then what are you going to do? Lock up the kitchen knives? What are you going to lock up this? I mean, there's been all sorts of
anything
instances.
can be a weapon, a car, a bomb, a knife, a hatchet,
cars in particular, Jeremy.
Yeah, indeed.
Fuel.
Yeah. But the problem politically, of course, is he has, I think, 3 Muslim seats in Western Sydney, and he would not want those to go to independents, and they would in a heartbeat if he offended them. So it's a very, very strange...
Well, he's also, in his career, supported the pro-Palestinian group all the way through.
Yes, a long time ago he started that, yeah.
The reason for that was that he was signing them up into the ALP to support his side of the ALP. And, of course, I didn't do that. I do remember... when we were out busily in those days branch stacking, which is a bad word these days, and all the rest of it.
It's just getting recruits, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the one. He was out signing them all up for the Palestinian groups and all this, that and the other, and I was out signing up the others.
Yep. Numbers matter, don't they?
It's the meaning of life, Jeremy, as I tell my wife on the council. She's on the council down where we live. Yeah. The meaning of life is when you walk in the room, you walk in with the numbers. They can have all the arguments they want, as long as you've got the numbers.
You tell some interesting stories about the Vietnamese refugees that came out to Australia.
Well, in actual fact, when I was in Playford, the branch had 31 members in when I moved in to the Playford area. And within a year, it had 529. Oh. And the reason for that was that the local federal member was Peter Duncan. And of the 31 members there, 24 were all from the one family and all the rest of it. And so I started signing people up, bringing them in, and they were signing them up, and we were lining up one way after another. Anyway, I was in a little bit of trouble, so I'd helped the Vietnamese Christian community get their church at Paraka. Mm-hmm. So I went and saw Father Gus, the priest there, and Sister Elizabeth, and explained my problem. And I came back with a couple of hundred Vietnamese members.
I'll bet you did.
And I was crossing King William Street, going to my office, and I had 10 membership books under my arm, and one of the lieutenants for the other side was there, and he comes up to me and he says, "We got you next week," and I'm trying to cover my arm up so that no one can see it. I said, yeah. Anyway, the list went out, and what happened was that we had the branch meeting the next week, and it was an interesting one because I'd actually asked my wife that day to marry me. So we go to the branch meeting that night, and there's all these Vietnamese there and all the rest of it. And the other side had brought 3 or 4 fellows there to sit with the Vietnamese to show them how to vote. And I thought, well, how do I deal with this? So I got hold of one of the Vietnamese fellows there who spoke very good English, and I said, I don't want to worry your family, but those fellows sitting with them are all communists. Mm-hmm. And it went round the room in Vietnamese. Now, Peter turned up with his wife and had 6 bottles of champagne to celebrate my demise. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way.
Were you wearing a flak jacket at the time?
Anyway, a bulletproof vest. The bottom line to it was that Julie left with the 6 unopened bottles of champagne, and that was it. But the Vietnamese were very good supporters of mine out there. And I remember going to their church, and it was a very sad thing. There were large numbers of families then that had an enormous number of kids, and it took me a little while to work it out. What had happened is that the kids' natural parents had died, either in Vietnam or as a result of Thai pirates or all sorts of things on their way to Australia. So you actually wound up with bits and pieces of families being looked after by others. And it was a wonderful community. It did a great job, and I was very proud to help them with that stuff up there. Of course, it's now moved on. It's now a couple of generations and all that stuff. But they were great. And one of my sons has just married a Vietnamese girl, one that was here as a student. And anyway, we're all very proud of Lynn.
They make fine citizens.
Oh, they did. And I must say that certainly in Paraka and down in Hindmarsh, they had a church down there as well. They were very, very good citizens, looked after the place well, and quite a few of them would go on to do other things. In fact, one became a governor of South Australia, Hugh Van Lee.
Yeah,
Fantastic story, that.
Yeah.
Coming to Australia with a road map of the general region and a tiny compass, almost like something out of a Wheaties box.
Well, it worked, didn't it? He got here.
And when he came to the opening of the Cruising Yacht Club once and told the story and said, I'm sure all of you have got a lot more equipment than I had, but I managed to get this boat, even though I had no experience, into the harbour at Darwin. And as they came in, there was a couple of guys fishing in a tinny drinking beer, and they said, "Welcome to Australia. Good on you, mate."
I wonder. There's a very interesting group of people around this table. How much fate? I mean, there's an example of fate. The odds were against him ever getting here in that leaky boat, but he did, and achieved high office, and all the rest of it. You should have been dead, because Derek was at death's door. A miracle that he lived. And the senator, I can't think of too many people who have been in the Senate federally and in the state parliament as well. How many times have you done that? You seem to move between the two.
I think they need him back now, to be honest.
Wow.
And this was a teacher out at Elizabeth.
Yeah, that's where in fact, I started out as a builder's labourer. But
did you belong to the union?
In fact, the union was not that strong when I was a builder's labourer, otherwise I would have joined. My father, of course, was a great union man. He was always made sure he had his union ticket. He had grown up, of course, in Liverpool in Britain, and you were in the union or you weren't working. And yet he was a great Tory. I don't come from a Labor voting family. In fact, my mother had voted Liberal in Britain a few times because the Liberal Party was originally the harbinger of what would become the Labor Party in the 1920s. Oh. But no, my father was a great Tory and was well known for it. And anyway, the bottom line to it was that in Elizabeth and those sorts of places, it was an interesting time to be there in the 70s, and then from there to go to a private school and all that sort of stuff. But in short answer, Jeremy, I believe I was the number 14th or 15th that had a state career and then a federal career afterwards. I think that's right.
Which is more fun?
I could be wrong about that.
Which is more fun?
Well, they both had their ups and downs. The problem with federally, of course, is that it is a great demand on travel and all that sort of stuff. And you're away. In fact, in my last year there, I was away for 178 days. And you're all over the place because it's not only the sitting of Parliament, it's if you're on select committees or you're on other committees, parliamentary committees.
Hard on the family.
And they meet all over the place. And although you do get some interesting things, I had a couple of trips to New Guinea and to Bougainville. And
what did you think of that?
When I got to Papua New Guinea the first time, we were staying in the Travelodge Hotel, and we weren't allowed down below the 5th floor. And the reason for that was the highest floor where a murder had been committed. And you could look out from the 9th or 8th floor, whatever I was on, and you saw all the buildings with razor wire around them there. And the groups that used to sleep at night outside that were known as the Rascals and all the rest of it. Anyway, when we went out as a parliamentary group, there was a bloke walking behind with a pump-action shotgun. And, I got to reason just how dangerous the place was. But from there, I went to Bougainville, which was the purpose of that particular trip. And Bougainville had broken out into a rebellion with the Bougainvillian Revolutionary Army, as it was called, vis-a-vis the PNG Defence Forces.
Was that over copper?
It was over self-government. One of the problems that Bougainville had was that it was predominantly people from the islands, and it was attached when we gave independence in 1975 to PNG. Bougainville was attached, whereas it probably should have been more of a Solomon Islands province. And so a lot of copper came out of there, and the copper mine closed, of course, because of the fights between the army. But I well remember going there and going to a bridge culvert near the UN headquarters there, and it was all pockmarked, the concrete, from bullet holes from where the New Guinean soldiers had brought the wives and children of the rebels and shot them. I was just looking at it, absolutely horrified. And a Liberal senator who was part of the group that went there, David McGibbon from Queensland, put his arm around me and he said, don't judge it too much until you see what you see this afternoon. So that afternoon we went and saw where the copper used to get loaded. It was now stopped into ships. There was a derrick that went out from the coast there, loaded the ships at sea. And at that particular point, the rebels used to take the New Guinean soldiers that they'd captured and shoot them in the back of the neck so they were quadriplegic, and then feed them to the crocodiles. And then I realised what this was all about.
You don't see that in the tourist brochures, do you?
It was savagery. But the other thing, of course, is that as I say, the Australian government built a hospital there, and we built it on top of the one that got burnt down. The New Guinean army used to go into the hospitals there, and anyone that looked like a rebel that had an injury was shot on the spot in the hospital. So one of the rebels, his brother...
Was that triaging, was it?
Well, one of the rebels there, his brother had been killed or murdered in such a way, so he burnt the hospital down.
As you would. Mm.
Well, the other rebels didn't like that very much, so they took him into the jungle and shot him in the stomach. And his stomach apparently was hanging out. And they said, now, you got to walk back to the hospital. And by then you're going to be dead. And if you hadn't burnt the hospital down, they might have saved your life. So we rebuilt the hospital, did all that. But the army, as in our army, had our own military doctors who were calling up there. And we did everything we could. But how do you deal with a situation where you've got that level of savagery?
It seems the thing that you do is you pay $500 million to establish a new rugby league team. I wonder if that's really what they need.
Well, there was one fellow in the hospital when I was there who had his eyes gouged out from the local rugby match. And apparently one of the tricks was to put the opposing player down and use long fingernails to gouge their eyes. And so I hope that the rugby team and so on have nail clippers.
I travel to Papua New Guinea on a regular basis at the moment. I walk Kokoda Track back in 2009, and last year we took 50 people on the Kokoda Track to talk about men's mental health, and we're doing it again this year. So if anybody's interested in walking Kokoda Track and joining us, group of 50, love to have you there. Look up Kokoda Centurions or contact me. But the experience of going into Papua New Guinea, into Port Moresby, is exactly that. We have to stay in the compound, wire around the outside, because the rascals, which is their name for the nastiest criminals there are, the rascals, if you go out, they will take you. They will rob you, and I don't care how little they get, they will take your life if they have to get it. Now, when we're walking the Kokoda Track, we're actually really safe. And I had a conversation with the local villagers as we were walking the track, and I said, do the rascals ever come out here and rob you guys? Because it's not a lot of security at all, and are we vulnerable? And they said, no, the rascals don't come out here. And I said, why is that? Because we would kill them. And it was that calm and clear, and they would just kill them. The first trip that I did there was a controversy between two of the villagers, and we weren't sure what it was, but there was this tension. And then we found out that one village had accused the other village's female of being a witch doctor that had killed someone in their town. So they lured her across to their village, chopped her up and buried her next to the airport runway. So that sort of thing is still happening in Papua New Guinea these days.
Is the cargo cult still a thing there?
The cargo cult? I don't know what that is.
Well, the cargo cult, I mean, it's sort of understandable because they would see these silver birds coming in and landing. Okay. And there they would be, and the silver bird would be bringing all sorts of goodies, which would be unloaded. So they figured that all we have to do to get the silver bird to come and land and give us things, we just have to clear some land and wait.
Right.
And then they had model planes.
They used to build planes because then they realised, well, no, perhaps the thing that causes the white people to be so successful with the silver bird is that they've got other silver birds on the ground, which attracts them. I mean, it's all pretty logical when you think about it.
Astonishing, isn't it? We're talking in the last 100 years.
Yeah. Who have we got on the line? Hello.
Good morning, Garrett. It's John.
Hello, John.
The troublemaker.
No, welcome to the dining room table.
Who's there today?
Oh, Derek McManus, Senator John Quirke, John Bruni, Mike O'Reilly. It's a fine Irish name, that, isn't it?
It's a great name.
And Tony's here, and Gary's here, and I think we're going to have to get a bigger table.
Gary's back, is it? Tony's there and Gary there.
Yeah,
Okay, good morning. It's easy for me to just say good morning, panel.
Yes.
I've got two things I want to raise.
Yep.
You remember me talking to you about the Marion Council, and they were going to defer helping the aged people as from June the 30th. It happens.
Yeah.
And what has actually happened? They've offloaded home maintenance, gardening, and gutter cleaning to Allendore.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I got smart and I thought, well, give me the names of the previous sub-agents that they used to use. So I rang both of the sub-agents.
Yeah.
And I had a price given by one, and the other one hasn't got me. There was a mob called Residential Support.
Yeah.
And when I talked to the man there, I said, now I'll be a individual customer away from Allendore and all that. I don't want to be tied up with them. He said 1 hour, $100.50 for gardening.
$100.50 for gardening.
1 hour.
1 hour.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other mob called Independent Care, I rang for them to give me a quote, and I'm still waiting.
I don't know what to say to you. I think when people sense that an insurance company is involved or a government department or anything like that, the price goes...
An NDIS?
NDIS, straight through the roof.
That's exactly what it is.
And there's no check and balance to sort of say, no, we are not a milch cow. You can't do that.
Well, the thing is, I've got two options. I either go to my aged care, and who knows, I could wait anywhere up to 12 months for it, or I've just got to try and seek someone that's doing gardening.
The details of the gardener that me and Jeremy have used, Andy, and he's very good, and he's only about $60 an hour or something. So,
what's his name?
Andy Popoli. I'm having trouble with his second name.
Oh.
But I'll send you the details.
Well, you'll have to give it to Jeremy and when he's in this game.
No, I've got your number. We've got your number here.
Yeah, all right, and you can phone it through. That sounds more reasonable. I don't mind $60 an hour. I can handle that, But 100, I thought that's just over the bloody top. It really is. And today, Pat was watching ABC News and copped this for a bag of apples. What do they call them? Office works.
Oh, yes.
All their staff in Melbourne and Sydney are going to be given their jobs overseas.
Yeah. They're all redundant, and the Philippines, and where else are they going? I can't remember. But
that is a disgrace to it.
Certainly
that's a disgrace. Yeah, it's a disgrace to our country, mate. It really is.
Senator, what can we do about that? The idea of somebody saying, well, this mob has priced itself out of a job. We're just going to go and use AI, and we'll do it in the Philippines, or we'll do it in some other part of the world. How do you combat that?
Well, I don't know, Jeremy. Sadly, I have seen many changes. I well remember the argument over tariffs.
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, there was a tariff of 78% or whatever it was on overseas cars.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a very bad idea. And when the Hawke and then the Keating government wound all that back, we were warned that would be the end of manufacturing in Australia.
Yeah.
And you've only got to drive down Port Road now or around near Tonsley to see that was true.
Yeah.
So whether or not tariffs were the answer, you have to ask the President of the United States. He seems to be using tariffs to try and arrest the very same process that apparently is happening in the United States
And one of the
as what happened here.
Yeah.
Now, it's very difficult for some of these companies here to make money. One of the more interesting businesses around down in the Victor area is Waller's, the furniture place.
Yeah.
And it's going gangbusters, but not for selling furniture, because it's got the most successful cafe in town in there. And unfortunately, I suspect there's been a very important closure there of another cafe. I suspect there is only a limited amount of business, and Waller's has got it all.
And they've got it, yeah.
Particularly, you don't go there on pension day.
Well, it doesn't matter why they come. I mean, they might just see something while they're there that they didn't even anticipate they would.
Yeah, but there's so much of stuff that we used to make here. It's not only cars with the thing. We had Kelvinators. We had there and out in Elizabeth, where I used to live many decades ago, you had sewing machine companies, and liquid oxygen was out there, and they've all gone.
Well, what I was going to say, one of the impediments to employing people, though, is Labor's 2022 IR Relations Act that they brought in. No one wants to be an employer anymore because it's so onerous. 800 pages of legal rubbish. It's difficult to employ anymore.
Yeah, there's not a lot of incentive to employ people. Come closer.
Oh, sorry.
We've got to get another microphone.
Oh, I think so. Well, I'm going to have a longer arm. It's interesting. I mean, when we talk about the loss of jobs, very few people raise the fact that now, as warfare is developing in different ways, society is developing in different ways. I hear a lot about 3D printing, which means that any person with a bit of capital can set up a small fabric at the back of their garage and start producing stuff and making a profit. Now, the 3D printer will need the one person to create the design to put through whatever they need to put through. But where is the technological innovation? Where, I remember back in the 1990s, Bill Clinton coming out, US President Bill Clinton saying, it's going to be the information superhighway is going to create all these jobs that we haven't even thought of yet. And the Silicon Valley bros are saying the same thing. Wait until we get artificial general intelligence, where the machines think for themselves. We'll have so much work. It's going to be great. But, the thing is that all we hear is people being laid off because of technology or because of cheaper labour forces in the global south.
Yes.
And so, of course, we see a net drag of the economy. We see people not being able to utilise the technology, ending up on Centrelink, and feeling relatively hopeless. So again, where are our politicians coming up with the ideas necessary to stem the tide? Where's the triage? I don't see it. Well,
I don't know what you guys think about it, but when I get one of those call centres from the Philippines or from God knows where, and they are trying to be understood, but they are not good at English. And whatever money Officeworks may save, but putting that call centre into the hands of people who are difficult to understand. No, and it's an anathema to people, really.
Well, the other thing you've got is that with the Hormuz Strait at the moment, it is showing our vulnerability to manufacturing and importing goods and all the rest of it. And there's a talk about bringing manufacturing back to Australia. If there is a war in the Philippines or whatever country is handling our call centres gets invaded, that's gone as well.
Make us independent.
We're going to have complete reliance on that.
They said this during COVID. We need to bring manufacturing back. And then we all forget about it.
Yep.
Let's get back. And then we've got another disaster. We better bring it all back.
There is
and
always...
then 5 years later, we'll forget about it again.
There is always talk about it, and that's as far as it gets. Yep. The reality is that the consumer is a very selfish individual out there, and if he has a choice of picking up something that is locally manufactured at X number of dollars, whereas he can get something that is manufactured anywhere else in the world for half that price or a third that price, unfortunately, he will go and buy it.
You've got to look at why things are so expensive in Australia. And a lot of it is government meddling and IR laws and, unions demanding more and more money. A lot of it's Labor government induced.
Well, in actual fact, the day after the federal budget came down, I went to my local cafe in Normanville, which I go every morning. Now, there's a lady there, Kelly, who has just done a magnificent job of building the best cafe in the area. And the place was absolutely full. And as it is, 6 days a week, and it'd be 7 if Kelly was prepared to work 7 days a week. And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking she's now got a 47% partner in this business. And that makes me, that tells you what I think of the capital gains changes. The reality is that if it was a 10 or 12 or 15% tax, I could understand it. But to have a 47% partner all of a sudden...
It's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous.
Yeah. Did you hear what Angus Taylor said, slightly off microphone in the House? It wasn't very parliamentary, apparently. I'm not sure exactly what parliamentary behaviour and speech is, but he said that the Prime Minister was an arrogant prick. It wasn't appreciated, but there are people popping up this morning to say, yeah, I agree with that.
Well, it's debatable. Who's the worst PM we've had? Oh, it's a difficult choice. Albanese, or is it Gough Whitlam, or is it
Well, Gough
Gillard,
Whitlam came up with the...
Crud, or who?
Well, Gough Whitlam came up with the Lima Declaration. He and Lance Barnard went over to Lima in 1975, shortly before the dismissal, and he... signed away, really, the Lima Declaration, and it's an amazing document. If you Google and say, tell me about the Lima Declaration, it was basically the signing away of industry in Australia in favour of third world countries. And in those days, I guess China was a peasant economy in 75. And amazingly, look at it now. I don't think we'd have the global problems if, indeed, the world hadn't decided to give the third world a bit of a hand. And they've got a cost advantage. They don't have too many unions. They just basically do business. We
don't have very many unions here now.
No, only 12% apparently of people belong to a union.
Indeed, and in fact, if you take the police association out of that, where it's 98